How is everybody doing today? My name is Master Zero, and welcome back to another reaction video. This time we're reacting to This Video Might Save 58 Lives Next Week by In a Nutshell. Alright, so I was gonna make a joke about how I was being a month late, and I really hope that the 58 people that they were talking about is actually alive, but right before I decided to play the video, it gave me a warning that said this may contain, like, self-harm and stuff, so I'm not gonna do any of those types of jokes. But, like, onto this, like, I'm very fascinated of what this is actually about, because, like, the context clues seem to indicate that it's gonna be talking about some heavy stuff, and, like, I've had my fair share of heavy stuff in the past, you know, so I might get like way more sentimental than I originally am in Kurzgesagt videos, but like still it should be very informative. Like obviously this might save, you know, so obviously it's gonna go with like the positive side of it, but you can't have positivity without the negative, you know, the yin and yang. So obviously if it is gonna touch those types of topics, you know, like fair warning, you know, that's my little warning for my video, but like all in all, like I am very fascinated of what's to come, you know, like because Kurzgesagt is always like amazing at their stuff. Like any type of topic that they choose to talk about, they do a spectacular job, man. Like obviously it's a whole team around it doing like all the info that needs to be done and stuff, so like we could have a very enjoyable video at the end of the day. So I'm very excited to get this going, so without any further ado, here is This Video Might Save 58 Lives Next Week.
Let's save your life today. Not long.
Okay, jumping straight to it.
Today,
right now, let's go.
Finding out what's most
Your
likely
life is
to kill
so
you
important.
Next week, so you
Okay.
First, let's assume that
Is this
3 million
freaking
people will watch
the
this video,
death guy
and
from
that
Final
you're all
Fantasy?
among our typical viewers. You're between the ages of 15 and 35, and you're living in
I am.
Western countries. We base
Pushing
this video
30.
on statistics specifically for your demographic and our own estimates.
It's
They're not
complicated.
perfect, but roughly correct.
Usually life
Don't
is
worry,
complicated.
We might also save your life if you're older or live
Hey,
somewhere else.
help everybody.
Okay, now let's gather
Still
all
wanna
3
know what this
million
is
of you
about.
in 40 packed football stadiums.
Okay.
Look around. Most of you are teens and young adults. So much potential. Unfortunately,
All the
by
potential.
the end of next week, 58 of you watching right now will not be alive anymore.
Oh, when you put the actual
4,000 of you will
number
sadly have
together,
passed in a year.
that's terrible.
That's 1 in 1,000. Or not.
Okay,
Today,
these are
we will
statistics, I
save
guess.
your life by looking at the avoidable ways you might die.
Okay,
We'll
I'm
not
starting to
cover
see where this
long-term
is going.
things like diseases, because we want to prevent your death next week. Your life consists of
Hey, we're
millions
doing
of
this
micro
now, man.
decisions,
Short term.
and
I
some
love
of you
this.
are on a path that will end soon.
Oh.
Can we guide you
Again,
down a
Final
different
Fantasy.
path? Humans are
Oh, I
incredibly
love this.
bad
It's kind of
at judging
topical because
the
I
real risks
gave
of
up one of my
life.
bad habits.
Bad things happen to people all the time because there are
That's
so
an
many of
understatement.
us. And since the news focuses so much
Again,
on
just
freak
statistic-wise,
accidents, we have a
it's bound to
completely
happen.
distorted picture of what actually poses
Attacked her
danger to
too
us.
soon, man.
For example,
I think this came out before the whole squirrel fiasco.
A terror attack is below 0.0002%.
Oh.
There are super risky activities that
thing
are
it wasn't
clearly
3.
insanely dangerous, like wingsuit flying. If
Yeah,
all
I'd
3
rather not be an
million of you were
adrenaline
to
junkie,
practice
thank you.
this sport,
I do want to try
about
that.
285 of you would die just next week.
Oh.
Then there are things that are pretty dangerous. If
But you're
all
only
of
gonna
you
say
rode a
58 of us?
motorcycle, 35 of you would not survive next week. If
Okay,
you
a
don't want
little
this kind of risk
slower.
in your life, well, don't do these things.
Akira.
It turns out what's most likely to
Ow!
kill you next week are things that feel safe, that you do all the time,
I'm sorry?
and are routine, things you may even be really good at.
Don't be complacent.
This
That
is
was like
what
the
we'll
number one thing when
prevent.
I
By
worked
far
at a
the
cop.
most dangerous thing you're currently
Worked at a
doing
prison.
is driving.
Oh,
8
yeah,
of
that's
you will
bad.
die in a car crash just next week.
You're more likely to
416
die in a car
over
crash
the
than a
next
plane.
year.
It's crazy.
Mostly because most of you
City
are
of
not aware
Townsville.
what driving really is. You're zooming through the world in a metal torpedo
Jesus
at the speed of
Christ!
cheetah or faster. In an
Yeah?
average car that weighs 1.5 tons at roughly 60
Yeah,
kilometers.
get them old
per hour
cars,
or
man. They're
40
all
miles an hour.
metal.
You have the mechanical
Oh.
energy of a piano dropped from the top of the Statue of
Oh
Liberty.
my.
If you crash, this energy is released into your car and, more importantly,
You?
your body.
Yeah.
30%
You're in
of
that
deadly
thing.
car accidents are caused by
Turn into
speeding,
soup.
mostly because you overestimate yourself.
Oh.
But that will kill 2 of you next week.
That's it?
It's very straightforward. If you go fast,
There's gonna be
you have
different
less time
topics,
to react,
and then it
only
equals
notice the danger
Jesus
when it's too
Christ!
late. A lot of you watching
Who's
tend to
watching
go
the
the speed limit
child?
regularly, which saves very little time. If your destination is 20 minutes away at 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles
must
an hour,
not live in Texas.
driving 15 kilometers an hour or 10 miles an hour faster will save less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, but what's the
But
cost,
your
man?
probability of a deadly
There's the but.
crash increases by 60%.
Those jump cuts be real.
So 2 of you may survive next week if you just tone down your speeding.
It's like, yo, just chill,
This
man.
alone would eliminate the most dangerous activity in your life. Isn't this wild?
Honestly,
Close
yes.
second is drinking alcohol and driving,
that's bad.
causing 25%.
Oh,
of
and
deadly
driving? That's
crashes.
terrible.
In the next week, this will also kill 2 of you.
Oh.
You don't even need to feel drunk.
Those,
you
like,
just have to have
lost
consumed
souls,
enough
if you
to
will?
slow your reaction time. Even if you still feel completely in control,
Yeah,
chances
never
are high
drunk
that you're
drive, man.
not.
That's terrible.
Aside from being extremely illegal, it's one of the most reckless and dangerous things too many people do regularly.
Another jump cut,
And
yay.
it's easy to avoid. Just don't do it.
Very true.
ever.
Just don't do it.
Taking a cab after that work event next week, even
I don't
if
care
you
how
only
confident
had
you
2
are, man.
drinks,
You're putting
might
others'
save
lives
your
at
life.
risk. That's the number one thing I hate.
Just because you were distracted
No
while
car.
driving, one of you will die next week.
Oh.
Maybe because you were eating or fumbling
Among
with the
Us.
radio, but let's be real, probably because you were.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, my
looking at your
mom's
phone.
terrible at that.
If
I'm
you
like,
drive
please
at
watch
60
the
miles
road.
an hour or 40 miles
Sad
an
when
hour
I
and
have to
check
tell
your
her.
phone for just a moment, you've now crossed an
Yeah, I put that
entire
thing up,
football
man.
field.
This
Completely
Shrek is
blind.
loved.
Stop doing this, and you might survive next week.
100%.
Lastly, we want to have an especially frank word with the 3 of you that will die because you didn't wear a seatbelt.
Oh.
What an incredibly stupid
Hey,
way to
laws are
die
there for a
young.
reason, guys.
Way more of you will get into a car
I don't want to
crash
say
and
this, but
be
this is kind of
injured
like
for
how
all the same
stupid humans
reasons.
could be just to
And
kill
of course,
themselves.
Often the victims of crashes are not to blame at all, and many of you watching right now will end up hurting someone else. But you
Yeah,
don't know how to
like I
reduce
said,
the
man, that's the
chances
number
of
one
this
thing I
happening
hate.
Massively. Let's move on to other deadly things that you can
Not
easily
just cars, are
avoid.
you sure?
26 of you will die by falling, or more precisely, by hitting the ground in the next year.
Yeah, the falling
Which
doesn't
means
kill
one of
you.
will die every
Doesn't
2
stop.
weeks.
1.5.
You'd think the danger of height was not as big of a deal,
I do
but it
skateboard.
is. Going up ladders, working on
Dude, that goes
scaffolding on the
hard.
roof, and going hiking in nature is normal. But falling from a height of just 2 meters has about the same mechanical energy as a bowling ball dropped from a 7-story
I'm sorry?
You probably wouldn't want to be
It's
hit
not
by
as
it,
high as I thought it
and
would be.
It only gets worse the higher you go. For a fall from 5 meters, the height of a large ladder, the equivalent would be the energy of a
was about to
bowling
say,
ball
that's
dropped from
still
a
not-
19-story building. But even just falling over can easily be fatal because your head is all the way at the
okay.
top of your body. Another
Yeah,
surprisingly
concussion or
dangerous
worse.
thing is
I
water.
didn't think about. I thought
One
he'd
of
have to be
you
way
will drown
higher.
next
I mean,
week.
call me naive, but
Being in and around water is fun.
Again, I
and
thought that would be a
doesn't seem to
bigger
big
number.
deal, mainly for 3 reasons. You'll underestimate how dangerous a body of water is and be taken by strong currents. or
freaking water bending
riptides.
up in here.
You'll overestimate your swimming abilities. You're most likely a much worse swimmer than you think. Or
So don't
also,
even try it.
common, you'll go into the water drunk. Especially dangerous.
Again, with
because you're more
alcohol, no!
reckless and even
Alcohol
more
with
likely
anything
to
is
be
terrible.
overwhelmed by a cold
Except
shock
parties,
or
I guess.
hypothermia.
Contain
Harmless
little bubble.
situations around water turn deadly so quickly that in the US,
Yeah,
drowning
especially
is
the beach,
second
man.
most common cause of death by
Like
accident
my
for
size, you
kids,
could just get swept
after
up into
you
the
may have
ocean.
Guessed it, car crashes. So if you're going for a swim next week, keep this in mind. Make sure that the water is safe. Assume you are at best a mediocre swimmer,
100%.
and you won't die. Also, for the love of God,
My daughter has
be
like 3
careful
different
on
sets of
cruise
floaties.
ships. If you go overboard, you have a 60% chance of dying.
That's high.
Let's move on to the thing that will kill the
Gonna
most
get soaked
people
up into
watching
the
this video.
fans.
This one is extremely sad and very delicate because sensationalist public discussion can make it worse. It's
Oh.
harming yourself. Statistically,
Oh,
about
there's
10
the
of you
warning.
could die
Okay.
this way next week.
This is hitting a little too
There's
close to
something
home.
that you might not be aware of that might save your life. The
Let me hear it,
majority of
please.
these deaths happen in crisis
the vibe definitely
situations,
changed, by the way.
Usually triggered by traumatic events and extraordinary circumstances
Life's
that
hard.
overwhelm people and
Oh.
undermine their coping strategies.
My philosophy
Studies
is
show
like,
that suicide
why make
rarely
other people's
occurs
lives
out of
harder
the
for the
blue.
sake of doing it? Like, try to
There are
help
warning
people.
signs, and often suicidal thoughts and feelings can be mastered by getting professional help.
Oh,
for example,
man.
from a crisis intervention center.
Yeah.
Most people who survive an attempt don't try again and end up being very glad that they did survive.
Sadly, I tried like
It
3
was
times,
just way
man.
too much for them, and they felt
Like high school to
desperate
college.
and as if there was no way out. It would be so nice if someone watching this who's in a bad spot decides to get help.
Aw.
You matter. You really do.
100%, man. Everyone
matters.
matters.
Please stay with us. If you currently feel overwhelmed by life, seeking help is not
Hey,
weakness, it's
superpower,
We've
yes.
put some resources for you in the video.
Oh, I'm actually
description.
like feeling tears
This
for him,
also
man.
means
This is
another
getting to
thing.
me.
If you have someone in your life
Trying to
going
crack
through a
jokes.
crisis, withdrawing, expressing hopelessness, or talking about this topic, even jokingly, take it seriously.
That's my
Show
thing,
them that they're
jokingly.
loved and important.
Just be
You
there for one
personally
another,
could
man.
save a life, maybe
Might be a
next
small
week already.
action, but it
You
matters
might
so
never know,
much.
But worst case, you've been a true friend. Now for the final thing, and
There's
to be
more?
honest, this will not save your life next week,
Oh,
but maybe this year.
okay.
Cancer is sadly a real
Stop!
risk even for your age group.
It
and
just
will
gets
kill
worse,
5
man.
Next week. The most common being thyroid, breast, and testicular cancer.
Thyroids would
The
kill my
author
uncle.
of this video had cancer at the age of 32. If he'd been aware of this
You
risk
mean I only
and went
got
to
3
regular
years
checkups,
left?
this could have been entirely avoided.
Uh-huh.
So this is also a personal
Go to the
heartfelt
doctor.
recommendation.
Moral
We
of the
collect
story.
a few resources about
This
screenings
section.
and self-checkups in our sources for you. Check them out.
Oh, y'all
At
guys
least
are doing
one
God's
type
work.
of
I love
cancer
that.
is almost entirely avoidable. Melanoma or skin cancer.
Yeah.
You might be surprised how deadly this
The
is.
sun is a
but as
deadly
great
laser.
philosopher said,
Whoa,
"The sun is a
literally.
deadly laser. It's burning your skin with the energy released from trillions of tons
Topical.
of plasma. The solution couldn't be simpler.
Well, I'm glad I watched that
Use
video
sunscreen.
finally.
It's been a while, or you've been in the water. Cool. Apply it again. About 9 of you will die of
Coat
melanoma
that.
in the next year,
Almost
so
said a bad word.
sunscreen might save your life. Okay, let's wrap up. Just by being more aware and
Well, this
modifying
kind of
your
made me
behavior
more
a little
positive with
bit,
my
you
actions,
personally
especially
could
like towards my
survive
daughter, man.
next week.
Alive.
Dozens of all of you watching right now. Hundreds of you this year.
Oh,
Hopefully,
yes.
you'll be able to tell
Let's
us
keep the
stories
positive
in the
numbers
next
up.
few years of situations that almost turned really bad, but didn't because you behaved
God,
differently.
can you imagine,
And
man?
if you have people in your life that do,
I always
or
think
don't
about
do
that, like the
things we
butterfly
talked about
effect.
today,
It's like, what if
please
I
send them
didn't-
this video?
I
It
wasn't
might
late or
save their
something.
lives
Could have been
too.
in a car crash.
Life is just the best thing, and
It
we
is,
hope
man.
to celebrate it together for as
Definitely
long as
taken
possible.
for granted, especially nowadays. Well,
If
that was
you need
heavy.
a nudge to seize the day,
Oh.
this is it.
Memento
Start
mori.
doing the things you want to do today. Run that marathon,
Hey,
write that novel,
why
or
is you
become
33?
the smartest version of yourself.
100%.
And while long-distance running and literature may take some time, you can start sharpening your mind right
Brilliant.
now.
Oh, it's been a
minutes
while.
day with our friends at Brilliant.
You have a different logo.
Brilliant will make you a better thinker and problem solver with thousands of interactive bite-sized lessons on just
love,
about
like, every
everything
single
you
one
may
of their
be curious
sponsors, by the
about.
way.
From data analysis and math,
They're essentially doing what
technology,
Kurzgesagt's
physics, and
doing, just on
beyond.
like a grander
All it
scale.
takes is solving a few problems a day, leaving you plenty of time to pursue your
It's like mind
other
play for my
life
daughter.
goals. On
He's
Brilliant,
homeschooled.
you'll learn through discovery by trying things yourself. Their course on predicting with probability,
love
for
this,
example, gets you hands-on with the concepts explored in this
Perspective.
video. Harnessing the power of real data, you'll learn how to assess possible outcomes
Oh, yes,
and
please.
make better decisions. Kurzgesagt has also partnered with Brilliant to create a series of lessons.
I was about to
take
say,
your
I think they have their
scientific
own
knowledge to the
courses and
next
stuff.
level. Each one is like a
Ah.
one-on-one version of a Kurzgesagt video, letting you further explore the topics of popular videos like rabies,
Oh, that is
mammalian
beautiful.
metabolism, or climate science and supernovae. And
How guys
you
change
can
your
get started
thumbnails so
whenever,
much, I don't know if I
wherever,
reacted to those or
right
not.
from whatever device you'd like. To get hands-on with Kurzgesagt lessons and explore everything Brilliant has to offer, start your free 30-day trial
Like I
by
said, man,
signing
they're
up at brilliant.org/nutshell.
Freaking awesome
There's
subscribe
even
or
extra
whatever they're
perk
called.
for Kurzgesagt
Sponsors.
viewers. Anyone signing up
20.
through our link will get
Not as cool as
20%
KiwiCo,
off
but
annual membership once
20%
their trial
still
ends.
hefty price. Hefty price
It's
off.
time to reveal our darkest secret.
Is this the same?
This may come as a surprise to you, but Kurzgesagt is not actually run by
It is the
birds,
same.
but by humans.
Gotta check mine just in case again.
Now you might wonder,
Alright, so I usually let the whole video play out, you know, but I've already seen that ad, so I'm just gonna skip that one. But on to this, man, that was like, it was a heavy topic, but it was kind of needed, you know? It was just like, every now and then we get, like I said during the video, you know, we get complacent in life. Like, we get like, oh, or like, whatever it's called, like, super... just you feel confident in yourself, you know, like a little too much than what you're supposed to, but it just like boils down to that, you know, like I'm gonna focus more on the complacency part, but like we get so used to like just a daily routine that we're like, oh, well, nothing bad's gonna happen because nothing did happen in the past, but like the life itself is so spontaneously like randomized, man. Like you have no idea if like the path you take just out of nowhere something falls on you and you die, you know, like essentially the same vein as this video. It's like we have no idea, so like if we take measures to prepare for those things, you know, and like not even that, just like, well, if you drink don't drive. Like, essentially it boils down to like the most simplest of choices, but you have to make those choices, you know? Like, no one else can do it for you. Like, you're in charge of your own life, you know? Like, pretty much the entirety of it, unless you like seek help and stuff like that. But anyway, like, it's crazy to think about, because like I always think about like the butterfly effect. Like, whenever I'm like, I forget something when I'm going to town or something, I have to turn around and go back and grab it. Like, what if that was like a divine intervention or something, like trying to stop me from dying essentially, or getting into a wreck? Like, if I was on the highway at that moment, like, what if I could have caused a huge wreck? Like, I don't know. Like, it always boggles my brain that way, and I'm like huge into the butterfly effect. You get me talking about it, I will not shut up. But like, it's just crazy, man. Like, the fact that like they're essentially doing such a good job, like, with this video, just the topic of this video, like, they do such a good job, like, trying to get you to understand. It's like, look, we're not mad at you, but, like, here's some ways to prevent, you know, death, like, but long story short, but, like, all in all, fantastic, man. I was kind of weary at the beginning of where this video would, like, which path it would take, but, like, knowing Kurzgesagt, man, every single time it's a banger, and it's, like, it's grounded, it's down to earth, like, it's, like, bite-sized pieces that I love, like, everything is so enjoyable, but it's also very informative, man. And this was like not necessarily science, even though like all the statistics and stuff were very much science, but like this was more of like a way of life, like a betterment, you know, for you to live your life and hopefully to prevent death. But like, if it did save 58 people, I think it was like a month ago now, but then Godspeed, man. I'm not gonna even try to do the math right now on the top of my head, but all in all, fantastic, man. I love this video so much. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Leave a like down below, subscribe, ring the bell, become a member. You get videos a day early, and check out the merch. So with that said, I have been Master Zero. You guys have been fantastic, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Later, dudes.